All right, so let me get this straight. You said no, and then you wrote a whole paragraph explaining why, giving people reason to negotiate with you, and then afterwards, you followed up. And then you felt bad because those manipulators of yours said something, and then afterwards, you almost took it all back. But let's be real for a moment. All you said was no. So, yeah, if that sounds like you, yeah, we need to talk. Anyways, hi, what's good? My name's Mim, and welcome to my channel. This is where I would consider the realest place on YouTube. And if you're interested in anything self-love, self-help, how to glow up and become the best version of yourself, drop a follow. And as always, you're welcome to comment and like and share. And like in every other video, so this is basically what you're going to find in today's video. And so there'll always be timestamps so that you can see, follow along. And if you're taking notes and you need to go back to any point, you're always welcome. So we're going to start with the exact thing. What is the problem? And here's the thing. Most people are not actually bad at setting boundaries. What they're bad at is sitting with the discomfort after it. Like, the part about setting boundaries, writing down every single thing that makes you good or bad, writing down things that you don't want in your life and you're not going to accept, that's the good part. Everybody can do that part. It's the part where you are forced to sit with yourself after saying no to somebody and they give you this dejected face. I'll be honest, I realize it's a pattern, like no actual human being wants to say no to anybody else. It gives them uncomfortable feelings. Even Robert Greene said it in the 48 Laws of Power that leaders don't want to say no. If a leader doesn't want to say no, you think you're going to want to say no? Obviously not. Nobody really ever actually wants to say no because sitting with the discomfort of having disappointed another person afterwards, that's something we all don't want to do. But here's the truth. If you say no, and then 5 minutes later, your brain goes, was I too harsh? She's probably going to be disappointed. Should I explain myself? What if they're mad at me? They probably are. They're probably disappointed, yeah. But here's another question you should ask yourself. Are they going to die? I highly doubt that. So if they're not going to die, the consequences are really hardly detrimental, so you can move on with your life. And before you know it, the thing is, half of the time you're already writing an apology, you're already trying to explain yourself. What you're really doing is putting room for negotiations towards your boundaries. Because it starts as a small thing. One time you're telling them, okay, we'll negotiate this. And the next thing, they're already disrupting your peace and leveling down your entire boundaries without you having any say in it, because you gave them the opportunity to see that you are a malleable person. So yeah, you're going to be explaining yourself, apologizing for having a limit. That's kind of wild. Now, let me explain for you what boundaries without guilt actually mean. The first thing is, over-explaining weakens your boundaries. That is a thing that I think everybody should be aware of as far as I've gone so far. Every time you explain yourself, you're basically inviting a debate. You are begging this person that, show me that my boundaries are not important. Show me that I genuinely am wrong with whatever I'm saying, and you are right for wanting to demolish them. You basically give somebody 4 reasons and they're gonna pick apart all 4. If you don't give them a reason at all, they don't have a reason to pick apart anything. I'd rather leave them wondering. So yeah, a no is a complete sentence in itself. It's scary, yeah, but is it powerful? Indefinitely. Number 2, guilt comes from breaking old patterns. This is something I will always talk about, how our brain will always affect every little decision we make. That guilt you feel, it's a sign you're doing something wrong. But it's also a sign you're doing something very right. It's not a sign that you did something incredibly wrong in the sense that it's something new to you. But it's going to be a sign to the brain, oh, we're not used to this. The nervous system is going to go, this isn't us. We don't do this. And then because of that, you're going to realize, oh, so my gosh, I'm feeling guilt. But that's only because as a society, as people, we've been brainwashed to believe that our literal purpose is to appease the next person. Not saying that it's a bad thing, but I believe that you first have to learn to have boundaries before you can appease another person so that you know where you're standing. So because of that, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I feel weird about this because I've never respected my boundaries. My self-pleasing will always come after people pleasing. And because of that, your brain's going to be like, this isn't us. So that guilt you're feeling, it's a sign that you were doing something wrong before, not a sign that you're doing something wrong right now. Remember that. And yeah, boundaries are going to feel like betrayal, but they're betrayal to the old version of you, the people-pleasing version of you, the self-sacrificial version of you. And I do not think self-sacrifice is cute in any way, shape, and form. So yeah, because of that, remember, boundaries might feel like betrayal, but they're actually not. Your body's just being dramatic. That's the honest truth. Now, the third thing. Boundaries clarify what you accept and what you don't. A boundary isn't a wall. It's kind of like a door, to be honest. It's a sign that says, this is how I work. And if you're unwilling to stay, you can go. It's the same thing as every other thing. We can talk about Christians, how the Bible has the commandments. Those commandments are literally you trying to be safe, trying to be kept safe from things that would hurt you. It's not anything, it has nothing to do with being there to constrict you or anything. Because, hey, if that was the case, will this off a little bit. But it is because they teach you that you have a boundary that you must complete, and that's going to protect you. So this is how I work. It actually helps people to know that after this, after this person is not going to stay. It makes them realize that, okay, so when I do this thing and this person doesn't like it at all, they're not going to stay and tolerate it. I'll give an example for myself. I used to always over-explain the reason why I don't eat pork or I'm halal at all, basically. I had to explain so many reasons, give so many excuses why I respected my religion enough to not eat pork or dress a specific way, talk a specific way, or do all these things. Like, I had to explain to other people why I don't swear. But let's be honest, they're my boundaries. So why did I have to explain them to another person who lives a completely different life? So yeah, after a while, I just stopped explaining and I'd say, I don't eat pork. I don't wear this. I don't eat that. I don't drink. Because to me, those are boundaries. And of course, there are probably going to be consequences I can never actually face because I've never done it. So yeah, for somebody else, that's fine. If you're doing it, that's okay. I'm not trying to shame anybody for eating pork or drinking. That's not the point. The point here is I don't do those things. They're my boundaries and I'm not entitled, or another person is not entitled to having a reason for why I do the things I do. You gotta just learn to live with that. Because the truth is, boundaries are like flags. They're like these blinking lights that tell you, okay, so if this person doesn't like this and they don't give us a reason why not to, it just means we're not supposed to. Kind of really flimsy with that situation, but it's actually how it works. It's not rejection, it's just instruction. And when it comes to instructions, you just gotta do them. And that's how it's supposed to work. And then the fourth thing is, not every person is entitled to access to you. If you go on my TikTok, you will find this everywhere. Oh, by the way, this is my TikTok account if anybody wants to follow. But you will find this everywhere. I say this all the time, that nobody is actually entitled to access to you. It doesn't matter if they're your childhood best friend and you've been friends for years, or the next door neighbor they're not entitled to anything. Not even because they just like you knew them for the longest time. If they're no longer in the same environment as you, if they're literally jacking up your frequencies, because of course this is the concept of how people have different frequencies, but if they are not on the same frequency as you and they genuinely just make everything about you feel sad and bad, leave them and don't give them access to you. Because here's the truth, right? And I need you to say it with me. Not everyone deserves a seat at my table. Pause, say it again. Not everybody deserves a seat at my table. Your time, your energy, and your space and your peace are a currency. They're not an all-you-can-eat buffet. They are literally what makes you. And if you decide to give them out everywhere, you're going to be left with nothing. The why. Why does this actually work? Why do boundaries without guilt work so much? Guilt does not mean equal to wrongdoing. Crazy, because that's literally how our system is made. But yeah, guilt is a feeling, not a fact. I mean, if psychopaths can go about doing the worst things without it, I think it says a lot. It's a feeling, not a fact. You can feel guilty and still be completely right. You can feel like the thing that you're doing might be the wrongest thing on earth, but you could still be right. I feel like there's a saying that goes, sometimes the right thing is often the hardest thing. And there's a reason why that is. Because you're going to feel guilty about it. You're going to feel bad about it. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's completely right. Those two things can literally exist at the same time. The second thing, clear limits create self-respect. Every time you hold a boundary, you basically sending a message to yourself that I respect myself, I love myself, I care, I matter. And if you do these things enough times, you're going to see how differently you carry yourself. Because here's the thing, right? Our brains don't actually listen to what we say. Maybe the universe might, but your brains don't. What they listen to is how you act. You might promise yourself something and then you go completely the other side. That's a problem right there. The fact that you did something wrong. So your brain's going to be like, oh, that means we're not trustable. That means we are definitely not somebody you can rely on. That means we are not somebody that actually keeps things intact. That means we're not the bosses of this thing. And your brain's going to do exactly what it always does and create more boundaries for you. But when you give yourself enough respect to know that I told myself this is my boundary, I told myself this is what I'm going to do, you're going to keep that respect for yourself to the point where you realize, because I said I'm going to do this, I'm actually going to do it. And nobody's going to stop me. And yeah, that's how it works. You have to keep your promises to yourself so that your brain registers, oh, this person actually respects themselves. This person loves themselves enough to know that this person, I have to give myself the respect of creating boundaries, of becoming this individual that gets what they said done. The third thing, people respect what is consistent. Not just your brain, but people too. They respect what is consistent. Here's the plot twist. People actually respect you more when you're consistent with what you're saying. Imagine if I had said, oh, I don't eat pork, and then I go continue on to eat pork. Do you really think anybody would take me seriously when I say, oh, I don't eat pork? Now, I'm into the point that I got people feeling bad and making sure that they always know to not get pork when I'm eating with them. And if there was a mistake of any pork being distributed whatsoever, it would not be anywhere near me. Because they went out of their way to make sure that my boundaries were respected because I was so consistent with it. And I would feel bad as an individual if I even touched it. So you see that because of that, when you have loving, caring people like that, that's a whole different topic we might talk on later. But when you have such a boundary that's so clear and outlined with such specifications, people are eventually going to learn. See, I'm not saying that they're not going to push back at first. They're probably gonna. I mean, some people are like, oh, that's just so ridiculous and hypocritical. Why are you listening to all those rules about... They're mine, though, but they're my boundaries, right? But yeah, they might push back at first, but at the end of the day, they're going to learn that you're being consistent with it and there's no convincing you otherwise. And because of that, they're going to start respecting it because you taught them that this is where you stand. This is where I like being treated. And this is where everything is going to stop. It's the same way that if you allow, I'm talking about those relationships, girls, if you allow a man to hit you once, and you say nothing about it, he will hit you again and again and again until he becomes an abusive ass. But that's just me. Anyways, moving on. So yeah. And that's actually the kind of power we need as an individual that has learned anything about self-loving for me. When you give yourself the liberty and you give yourself the power to realize, if I'm consistent with myself in whatever I'm saying, whether it's about drinking or certain things that you don't watch or certain activities you don't want to do or certain things you don't say or act a certain way, people are going to suddenly realize that, okay, so this girl is actually serious about what she's saying because she's consistent with it. And because of that, they're going to respect your boundaries no matter what. Now, on to my favorite segment of this whole video, the formula. We have 4 clear points today. Okay, so here's the cheat code. These are the 4 steps. Number 1, pressure. Somebody asks you something that makes you want to immediately say yes. Take a step back. Just take a step back. Because the honest truth is that you're going to want to make the awkwardness stop. Because the pressure is heavy and the pressure is something everybody feels. Not just me, not just you, everybody feels it. Pressure is something that everybody feels. But the truth is, when somebody asks you for it, you're going to be like, okay, wow. I need to do this because if I don't do this, this person might think I'm weird. This person might, no. Darling, just take a step back, breathe. Number 2, during the pause, don't respond right away. Breathe seriously. Just pause. I will tell you this, pause. The silence feels longer to you than it actually does to them. Just pause and think it through. What are the consequences that are going to happen when I do this? Is this good for me? Is this bad for me? What will actually happen if I allow my boundaries to be shaken up one time? Be what you call an overthinker. I know most of you like labeling yourselves as overthinkers. So because of that, overthink in that moment if you have to. Think at a million miles a minute or a second, but pause and think it through. What's going to happen? When you're talking about your boundaries and you're considering them, that is the best time for you to be analyzing everything. And give a clear response. Something like, that doesn't work for me. I'm not available. Calm, precise, and stop at that. Just say, I don't eat that. I don't drink that. I don't say that. You don't have to give reasons why not. You just have to be clear with it. I am not available for this. I'm not going to be able to work with that. That's where your boundaries end. That is just it. And then the next thing is you give no clear justification whatsoever. Just don't give a justification. You already gave a clear response. If they decide they want to be slow, let them be slow. Here, I don't entertain slow people. But I'll tell you that. You don't give no justification to nobody. Don't add anything, not even water. You just have to not add a because. Just don't do it. Don't explain. You just let it sit with them. Let it marinate. Let them realize that, okay, that's what she said. She's precise and consistent with it. You don't waste hours of your time trying to explain to this person why what you're saying is valid and why what they're saying is like less important. Well, no. Just say no and move on. And here's the thing. That's literally it. That's the whole formula. No PhD needed. No patterns or just that. Just a simple breathing exercise, a simple pause, and then a clear response, and then you're done. That's literally all you have to do. Okay? Now here are some practical ways to start. All right, for the real ones, the ones that have definitely stayed here as long as they have, because if you've made it here, you are genuinely serious about your boundaries. But yeah, here's how to actually start. Say no without the essay. Just say I can't make it is enough. You don't have to put an extra Goldilocks and the bear story towards it. Just say I can make it. It is enough. And that is the end. Full stop. The next thing is you have to delay instead of auto-agreeing. Let me check. I'll get back to you. Don't just say yes. If you feel the urge to just say yes, don't just say, let me check. I'll get back to you. This buys you time to respond from a calm place, not a panicked one. It gives you time. And if those people are going to pressure you into responding right away, that is your, right there, that is your indicator that you have to say no. That is your indicator to say no. You don't need any other reasoning. That is a clear indicator that you have to say no, because obviously they're trying to trap you into something. And the next thing is you have to give short, neutral answers. I'm not saying sound like a robot or whatever not, but just say that doesn't work for me. It's not rude, it's not cold, it's not angry, it's not anything. Just say, doesn't work for me. You don't have to be robotic with it. Just say, it doesn't work for me. And then, my G, I can't eat that. There, you're done. You don't have to act like it's some crazy thing and something that you just have to like, no. Just say something clear and neutral. Something that doesn't put any emotion into it. Like, just be neutral. Girl, like, please. Just be neutral with it. And then repeat the boundary calmly. If they push, don't escalate it. Do not ever escalate it. With the same energy, with the same tone, just saying, like I said before, it doesn't work with me. Did you hear how that sounded? Exactly. I just said it doesn't work with me. And now it doesn't work with me. It doesn't matter what you think about it. It's not going to work. So it doesn't matter how much they push. You do not shove back. Just remain still. At some point, they're going to feel like they're just like talking a wall. And they're going to move on with life or whatever. So yeah, protect your time without apologizing for it. You don't owe anybody any apology for anything. So if you say, oh, sorry, I can't make it, you're basically giving them this room or this environment where they think they have a lot more control over you than you have control over yourself. And I'm not going to sit here and act like that's something I want to be associated with. It's not. So yeah, you are going to be very short and give your neutral answers and not rude about it and say nothing but what has to be said. Okay? And protect your time. Do not apologize about it. there's nothing to apologize about. You're not feeling guilty about the fact that you're not available. Unless you're really feeling guilty, then maybe you can go, "Oh, sorry, I can't make it." But really, like, you need to stop apologizing when it's really not needed. Because you don't owe anybody any apology unless you really did something bad. So yeah. Now lastly, your no doesn't need a comedy vote. It doesn't need to be approved or explained or justified. You're allowed to have limits and still be a good person. You're allowed to say no and still be kind. You're allowed to protect your peace without writing an apology. Now, if this hit, share with somebody who needed it, drop a comment, let me know what you would also like to see in the future, and let me know how you're going to start respecting your boundaries a little bit more, and I'll see you all next week. So yeah, go protect your peace respectfully.